Welcome to an edition of the Mexican Soccer Show Olympic Special.
Era un sueño, era tan inalcanzable. Vamos, era una noticia maravillosamente buena.
Tener todos los elementos como para lograr esta química emocional que a todo el mundo nos cautivó.
Esa final era como un sueño, ¿no? Pero siempre la quise y siempre estuvo en mi mente.
Increíble. Eran unas ansias, unos nervios ya porque empezaba el partido.
No hay gloria mayor para un deportista escuchar su himno nacional con la medalla dorada colgada al cuello. Juegan en Brasil los mismos que juegan en la villa, es decir, 3 volantes de recuperación. ¿Por qué? Porque lo respetan, carajo, porque saben que no lo pueden dejar jugar, porque saben que somos un equipo fuerte. Ahí están las marcas, atentos a las marcas. Como siempre, señores, los primeros minutos, importantísimos. No entramos a ver qué pasa, que estudiar rival. Hacer las protagonistas, a tener la pelota, partiendo de nuevamente, atacando. Primeros minutos enchufadísimos, que no sientan. Recuerden que somos muy respetuosos fuera del campo, dentro del campo. No respetamos a nadie. Llámese como se llame. Juntos todo el balón y lo atacamos desde el lunes. Hoy es un gran día, señores. Haré un gran torneo. Hoy lo vamos a hacer bien. ¡Vamos!
La fuerza del grupo era increíble, o sea, cómo estaban todos hermanados.
Welcome to an edition of the Mexican Soccer Show Special Olympics edition. If that doesn't get you pumped up for what could be another great summer for Mexico, bringing the gold back, defending champions, I don't know what else I can get you to be hyped up for, but hopefully we'll get you started right away. Let's get some video so we can already start. Welcome to our edition of the Mexican Soccer Show, guys. I am Wiso from Footmex Nation. Glad you can join us on this Tuesday. I even had to take down my jersey. I was like, I need to put it on right now, and it kind of came off the wall. So very, very excited for this show. Not often we get to talk about the Olympics every 4 years, and glad that we're in it. But let's go ahead and talk, see who's with us today. Mr. Tom Marshall. How's it going, Tom?
Yo, Wiso. All good, man. Yeah, looking forward to, like you said, the Olympics once every 4 years. And excited about Thursday's game against Germany. I can't, bring it on.
Yeah, it should be fun. See how we do. We're supposed to have Jony on, but he couldn't make it. So hopefully he's all right. Looking at it, but lots of fun. Let's see. It should be a pretty cool show. Richard Flores already on the chats. Michael Vasquez, Christopher Serafin, Junior Peña. Cheers. All right. It's already bring on Germany. So let's go ahead and get started. As soon as perfect harmony with the end of the song, we planned it just like that. There it is. All right, guys. So what's the show entail? Let's just get right into it. You know, we don't get a lot of time to talk about the Olympics. I know you guys covered it a little bit in the first show, yesterday's show with Cesar. Thank you, Cesar, for hosting. I was traveling here and there, coming back from LA from that beautiful Chivas fiasco game that we saw against Arsenal. But let's go ahead right into it. We'll talk about a little bit of the history. It'll be only a 30-minute show. So and then we'll go into expected lineups. I know, Tom, you wrote a great article on what to expect on ESPN FC. Definitely check it out. I'm sure it's on Tom's Twitter. We can retweet that again. I know I had a little recap on who we're facing, looking at the schedule and seeing how we can do just kind of, outlooks. We'll ask you guys, or if you're on the podcast, if you're on the chat here on YouTube, if you want to ask us questions, we have plenty of time to ask some questions. I know already some questions about Germany, what looking for with the Pachuca players. But people are already very hopeful that we can finally get to a medal. So, Tom, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. let's start off with the actual tournament. You know, when Mexico won the gold medal 4 years ago, people said that this is probably the biggest thing Mexico has done on a national level when it comes to soccer and football. Although it's not an official FIFA tournament, you know, it's not part of that conglomerate of FIFA. It is, in my opinion, something that Mexico has won, and many countries aspire to win it. For example, Brazil, who still does not have that gold medal, and we ruined their dream of getting one 4 years ago when they brought a full team. So to say that this is maybe a tournament where a lot of teams around the world, especially the, you know, top flight teams, kind of turn their head, we'll just have the sub-23, or is this something exciting that we should be proud of for bringing that gold medal?
No, yeah, I mean, it was you know, it was a memorable afternoon, especially, you know, in Wembley, you know, the famous stadium, and obviously beating Brazil led by Neymar. So, you know, I think it sets it all up nicely for, you know, for this time around. And I don't know, looking a bit far ahead, but I'd absolutely love a Mexico-Brazil. I think that would be an absolutely brilliant game, you know, in the Maracanã. Neymar again leading Brazil, who are so desperate for this gold medal. And like you said, you know, Mexico go into this tournament reigning champion. I mean, and I think Mexico got a good team. I don't think they've got the star names that of 4 years ago. You know, they don't have the Giovanni dos Santos who was really leading the charge. But I think in overall, I think this is a strong Mexico team. I think this is a team that I just think it's representative of where Mexico is at in terms of youth football here. I think if you look at it, 2009, the Liga MX started the under-17s and under-20s league. And it was a big thing for youth development in the country. And I think now, in combination with that, you had the federation, who I think around the same time really started investing money into the national team youth program. You know, sending these kids all over the world, tournaments in China, Europe, South America. And I think this is the first generation now, this under-23s that we're going to see at the Olympics in Rio. This is the first generation that have benefited from all that. So, like I said, I think, you know, high hopes. I've got high hopes. Yeah,
definitely high hopes. Now, when we're looking at, you know, you said it, and kind of not disagree with you, but, you know, there are big names back then. But if you look at before the 4 years ago when Mexico was about to play this tournament, they didn't have the greatest of starts at the beginning and before, you know, losing some games. I think they were Panamericano champions, but a lot of people said, hey, you know, that tournament wasn't great. Giovanni dos Santos was the big name, and Oribe Peralta, who was shining in the league, but didn't really catapult to the Oribe Peralta that we know after the Olympics. These kids, you know, they did have some time, you know, in the senior level, but it looks like when you're doing comparisons with the kids now that are, you know, sub-23 guys that are there, it looks like there's more minutes, right? That these guys are playing, you know, the Chucky Lozanos, the Eric, just some of the names kind of se me fueron, but mostly a lot of the teams in the, you know, that are the youngsters that are now have more minutes now in the national in the first division than the other that would have, comparing them to 4 years ago. So we could even say that, you know, as far as preparedness and having that, you know, first team experience, this team is, you know, a little bit more. They didn't win the Toulon tournament like they did, but 4 years ago they did. So I know there's some comparisons there, and then, you know, they're having that not the greatest of starts, but we're definitely going to see comparing the two squads. What do you know? I know you said that's probably the names are there, but talent-wise, how do you see them from 4 years ago?
I mean, yeah, I think similar. I mean, I think we forget as well. You know, 4 years ago we had, you know, Diego Reyes was there. You know, a massive prospect. Raúl Jiménez, massive prospect. Héctor Herrera. You know, who have all three of those have gone on to big things with the national team, and also Carlos Salcido, who at that time 32 years old. He was a really good overage player. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's that much difference. The one thing that does worry me slightly about this current squad is the ages of the players. I think there's quite a lot of the important players aren't anywhere near the 1993 age limit. So if you go back 4 years, you know, you had Israel Jimenez, 23 years old, Iran Mier, 22, you know, Chavez, 22, Herrera, 22, Javier Cortez, 23. Fabian 23, Giovanni Dos Santos 23, Aquino 22. You get the idea. I mean, most of the starting players were already 23 years old, and I think in this squad now, you look at Cesar Montes, who's going to start as a 19-year-old. You look at Irving Lozano, who's 20. Eric Gutierrez, 20, 21. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's an excuse for Mexico, but I think it's a difference. I think it's a difference between the 2 years.
Looks like Matt's got a new
Something went wrong there.
Are we sponsored by Best Buy now?
I guess we're sponsored by Best Buy now.
Sponsored by Best Buy now. But no, yeah. But I mean, in terms of talent, I think that. Listen, with the Mexican youth teams now,
Give me a
you know
second.
what you're getting.
I think it's because I was looking at your article and it's got some stuff there. I think we're there. Sorry about that, guys. I'm doing two things at once, and I looked at Tom's article really quick to check out a stat, and then all of a sudden advertisements came on. My bad. Well, there you go. Free advertisements for Best Buy. Sorry, Tom. Go ahead. Take it away.
I mean, I think Mexico got a good team, but what I was going to say was, I think with Mexican youth national teams now, you know what you're going to get. Mexico are going to be strong. It's no surprise that Mexico are going to go into this tournament and be looking for a medal, because every time there's an under-20s, under-17s tournament, the Mexican national team in terms of youth production. Youth national teams has done exceptionally well. So this national team now, you know what you're going to get: a team that likes possession, plays vertically, gets the ball forward, quite quickly. Likes to make use of the full width of the pitch. They get the ball. They make the pitch as big as possible in possession. Maybe a bit susceptible on the counter attack, but it's a good team to watch. I think there's some important talents as well with this team, and we mentioned Lozano and Cesar Montes there, but Eric Gutierrez, the way he can control games, that exquisite left foot that he's got. I can't wait to see Eric Gutierrez up against the two Bender twins in the Germany game. I think that's a massive test for Eric Gutierrez against two teams who are very well established in Bundesliga, and the big physical guys as well.
All right. Well, before we get into our first, matchup, which is against Germany, how does this team play, Tom? Looking at Potro Gutierrez in the style that he likes that he's played before with his teams, the winning team that he had in 2011, and ultimately there is very common 4-4-2 style. I would see Marco Bueno and Peralta up top. But what do you think he's going to come out with, especially wanting that possession all of the time in the way that his teams play?
Well, I mean, for me, what you said there, I think that, going into the tournament, they've been kind of alternating between a 4-2-3-1 with Cisneros on the right and Pizarro as like the number 10, and the 4-4-2, where you take out Cisneros, you put on Pizarro down the right, and add Marco Bueno alongside Oribe Peralta. And it looks like Potro Gutierrez is going to go with that 4-4-2. The only thing that worries me against Germany is that control of the midfield. I don't think Marco Bueno is up to the level of some of the other younger players. So I'd prefer Mexico to play a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, but it looks like he's going to go for the 4-4-2 and, with the two number 9s. So we'll see. For me, though, it is a bit of a worry, that, especially against Germany.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for Chucky Lozano. I want to see him, and I want the world to see him. I think that there might be already, some rumors out there. There's already clubs that are just waiting until after the Olympics to make it official. Hopefully one of them being Manchester United. It's what's been seeing. So I definitely want him to be on the world stage. But another youngster that I definitely would love to see is Pizarro. I mean, that guy, he's got so much potential. And I feel like the level of play that we'll be seeing where, it's youngsters, it's them alike. I think he could break out in this tournament also. And if he is again, that playmaker that we like to see him.
Yeah. I mean, I think, with Lozano, this is going to be fascinating, this tournament, because this is the first tournament where he's the name. He's the star of this Mexico team. People are looking to him to make an impact, and not just fans, but clubs as well, and Juan Carlos Osorio. He'll be following very closely. So there's expectation, really, for the first time on Lozano. There's an expectation that he's going to be one of the best players in this Mexico team, that other players are going to look to him to be that spark, to be that inspiration, to be the goal threat. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Lozano, how he handles that pressure, because I think it's something a little bit new for Lozano. Pizarro, yeah, Wiso, I completely agree. The only thing I think with Pizarro, is that, he's taken Pachuca to the Liga MX title in the Clausura, playing in a more central role, and I agree with you. I prefer him in that kind of creative central role. Yeah, like the number 10 just off Oribe Peralta, but I think he's going to start on the right wing in the 4-4-2, which for me, I'd prefer him centrally, kind of dictating play. But obviously.
Another play that 3 years ago, even where we're looking at, Cubo Torres for the 2016 Olympics should be ready to go.
No, he's at a 9, yeah. No, he's just not. He's not developed. And I watched him a few weeks ago in Aguascalientes, and he was like, he missed a couple of chances, and it's like Cubo's just not developed as he should, and I think it's a weakness in this Mexico team. Unless Marco Bueno steps up, unless Torres suddenly gets some confidence from somewhere, I think that's a weakness. After Oribe Peralta, who's the other striker? And I mean, it's a problem not just for the Olympics, but in the Mexican game. We talked about it last night with the lack of Mexican strikers. But the good thing is, Oribe Peralta's there. And we saw him against America. He scored the hat-trick. He's on form. Against Argentina, I thought he was brilliant. I thought he really led the line really well. His movement was great. He seemed to interact with the other youngsters. And what he does, Oribe, which I like and which experienced players should do, is he chats to the ref. He chats to the defenders. He gets on the nerves. He's the leader out there, and he tries to ruffle a few feathers as well.
Yeah, and I think that's another reason why they brought him. When Oribe was announced, a lot of people said, again, why can't we bring, Raul Jimenez? Aside from all of the problems with, obviously he's trying to get, this is not a FIFA tournament, so you can't release the players. But Oribe Peralta coming in 4 years ago, which, he made a name for himself. He had the gold because of him. It wasn't Horrible Peralta. It was El Hermoso. It was El Cepillo coming out and winning the games. And now, I feel like he might even come out, what do you think, with the captain armband, rallying everybody. It was kind of what Salcido did 4 years ago. If you watch the Oro documental, where Salcido was calm, he was there to be a leader, but I feel like Oribe is like, I've done this already. I've seen what we can do when we all come together. And something to talk about is we looked at the way that whole team. I think if you contribute something that something that really helped the team win the Oro was how close everybody was. And
Peralta said it already. Yeah, Peralta said it the other day. He said after the game against Argentina, he said, "Look, the quality is here. Look around the squad. The quality is there. The thing we need to make sure we get right is the mental aspect, and that's why Oribe Peralta is there. He knows what he's been through the process of winning gold." And I mean, if Mexico are to win gold and get to that final, maybe against Brazil, then it is going to be very, very strong as well. It's not easy down there. There's a lot of, there's a lot going on around the Olympics, and it's easy to get distracted. But like I said, Wiso, I mean, a lot of these kids, if you look at the careers now, someone like Pizarro or Gutierrez, I mean, they've come through Pachuca, and Pachuca's an exceptional youth system. It would be exceptional. It'd be very good if it was a European club. Let's not forget that these kids, they've been around the world. They've been through these tournaments. They know what's expected. They know the process of going to the game, coming back, resting, eating well. You know what I mean? I'm not saying they're angels, but I think this is a big plus for Mexico, and I think this is the difference between Mexican youth national teams now and 10, 15 years ago.
Exactly, and I know I share the point with you. I mean, we are one of the best prepared national teams when it comes to the youth, and we're favored in tournaments. We've won tournaments sub-17. I mean, we're still looking for that sub-20 win, but we have the sub-23, which is ultimately the pinnacle, which is the Olympics. in what we're seeing. Before we get into, I guess Germany and maybe a protected 11, and answer some questions there from the YouTube. Actually, let's go ahead and answer a question. I know WNF Productions asked, who will be the standout star for Mexico in the Olympics? I'm going with Pizarro. I feel like this guy, everyone, I don't feel like he's going to be scoring all the goals, but I feel Pizarro is going to be all over the place if he is that central role. But what do you think, Chucky Lozano?
I have to say Chucky first, yeah. I just think he's bang on form. He started the season so well with Pachuca, and I think it's an opportunity for him. I really do. But I'd also say Cesar Montes. I mean, this is a player a lot of people are talking about now.
Yeah.
Again, a 19-year-old is almost like Diego Reyes 4 years ago, but he looks a little bit special. I mean, he only came into Monterrey's youth system when he was, I don't know the exact age, but he's 19 now, and it was only a few years ago. Sometime he wasn't even part of kind of a Liga MX club youth system, and all of a sudden he's jumped from being like under 17s, kind of skipped the under 20s, and he's in the first team for Monterrey, like arguably the best team in the Liga MX. Well, not on this season's play, but player for player, what he's done at this age, it's sensational, and again, it's a big opportunity for Cesar Montes to show what he's got.
In the back line, anything, looking at maybe a Torres Nilo coming in, and last time, like you said, it was, Salcido was there in the defense, or you have Chuy Corona, Talavera not being the most. And not saying that he isn't a leader in the back, but we haven't seen a Talavera that really commands the defense before. But what do you see in that defense? Could it be a little young? I mean, Salcedo, Montes, Torres Nilo, and then I can't even think who would be on the right.
I think it's going to be Abella or maybe Eric Torres. No, Eric Aguirre. Pardon.
Yeah, Eric Aguirre.
So,
how do you see that?
First of all, Talavera. I mean, Talavera.
Salcedo has been, a player we've been wanting him to be, and we've seen he's got the qualities that that he came in for in the first season at Chivas and some national team games. But this is probably the stage to step up to finally see what this guy has, because it looks like from when Naive, he sitting next to him at games, Salcedo's decisions are there. Feels like he's been kind of on the lowdown. This is a big stage for him. Salcedo, not Salcido.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Talavera, I think the only doubt about Talavera is, I think for me, he's probably the best Mexican goalkeeper, probably level with Guillermo Ochoa, so we don't start debating. But,
that's okay,
Johnny's Talavera,
Johnny's not here. We're okay.
The only thing with Talavera was he had that injury, so is he up to speed? I don't know, but I don't really have any doubts about Talavera. On the right, Abella, he started more Liga MX games than any other player, so I think he's going to have a good Olympics. I spoke to him the other week. Actually, seems like a very mature guy. I mean, he's like a bit of a joker, but he's also he's very. The centre back pairing, Cesar Montes, Salcedo. I mean, I think individually both very good players. The thing about Salcedo for me, he almost reminds me of an Argentine defender. He'll just foul someone. A bit dirty. He's got a bit of dirtiness to him. He'll take a yellow card. If a player's going past him and it's a dangerous situation, it was like he was born to defend. And like you can't imagine playing in any other position. He is a centre back.
Maybe getting that from MLS of how physical the league is, how fast the league is.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
and we saw that. We saw that in his first season with Chivas. That's something we liked.
Yeah, he got a lot of yellow cards, but I think they were controlled. They weren't kind of like wildness. He was like, he knew. What I would say about the centre-back partnership is Montes and Salcedo. Montes hasn't been in this kind of under-23 squad very long. They haven't played many games together. It's a slight worry. Left-back, Torres Nilo, no problem at all. Look out for his long throws. I think that can be a bit of a weapon for Mexico going forward. And also, the other thing with this Mexico squad that Torres really helps with is defending set pieces. He's a big guy, Torres Nilo, and he's going to really. And same with Oribe Peralta. Both those two will be definitely kind of leaders when Mexico are defending set pieces.
Yeah, no, definitely. A lot of people were kind of thinking of why a Torres Nilo, but in that position, I don't know anybody else, that sub 23 that can step up, and I feel like it's a good addition. A little bit on Chucky Lozano, we've seen. Hopefully, he can connect with Oribe Peralta. Hopefully, they have that, because Chucky Lozano can only be as good as the striker in front of him that can head the ball in the right. And Oribe obviously has that talent, and he can do that. Kind of like a Chicharito-esque, where he knows that timing, he knows where he can hit with both legs, he can head the ball really well, and I think that's where Chucky Lozano would come in, and hopefully the timing is there. I have seen him before where he's way too quick for everyone. Like he's ahead of everybody in Mexico, and they're like, well, hold on a second, give us some time for us to get to the field before you take on 3 players and go in front. So I hope Potro is able to do that, but I feel he can. Potro, and to chat just a little bit about Potro, congratulating him from where he has been, his success. And not a lot of people know that he was a teacher before he started with the national team. He taught in a school where it was all different types of ages. So you see why it works out with the youngsters that he's there. And to bring it in what Tena did 4 years ago, and now Potro has the opportunity to do so. I think we have a fine coach there. A little bit iffy on some questions before in some other tournaments, but I think he should do a good job. Tom, let's talk about the actual schedule for Mexico. Mexico starts their Olympic dream on Thursday versus Germany. Now, the Olympics start officially, I think, Wednesday for some of the... Friday. Well, like the first, like there's preliminaries, there's heats, some of the games. I think the women start on Wednesday. Yeah. The whole ceremony is on Friday. You can catch it in your network, and I always loved it. I've always loved the Olympics since I was little, so I know I'll definitely be catching it, seeing Mexico, seeing the United States. Especially coming in and raising the flag and through all that. I definitely love that. So as far as the schedule, it's Thursday, and I think it happened last year too, 4 years ago too, where Mexico played before the ceremony. In fact, some of the team might not even be in the Olympic walk and all of that because they had a game before or something like that. I think it happened 4 years ago for some of the teams. But
they're not going to be in this one either.
No, they're not going to be
in Salvador, aren't they?
Yeah. So I think we won't be able to see Oribe Peralta with the camera walking around the Olympic Stadium or anything like that. But they play Germany, which regardless of what part of if it's U10s or 15s or 23s or 30, it's still Germany. Everyone's been asking, what is Germany bringing? Tom, can you? I know you were talking about the brothers, and you're there. Have you taken a look at the team, the German team, and what they can bring, what they've done before, or anything like that?
Well, they've been. I mean, it's difficult for any European team to qualify for the Olympics because you have to qualify through the under-21 European Championship, but obviously there's teams there. So, very strong. I mean, you look at the players, you look where they're playing, you look how many times they played in the Bundesliga. This is a really strong Germany team. Some of the big-name players aren't there. Kimmich from Bayern Munich, he's supposed to be the next great German centre forward. He's not going to be there. He's going to be back with Bayern Munich. The overage player Lars Bender, highly experienced. The twins, highly experienced. Bundesliga midfielders. So, and then up front, I think was Niels Petersen, who who scored a lot of goals. I think in the second division last season. So, it's a Germany team. It doesn't get much more difficult for Mexico in terms of their opening game or who it could be than Germany. I think Germany are one of the favourites for the medal. Yeah, Brazil are the favourites overall, no doubt about it. But after that, I think Germany, a couple of other nations there. But yeah, it's going to be a really tough game for Mexico. And like I said earlier, I'm looking forward to the midfield battle with those two overage players and seeing especially Eric Gutierrez. But also, is he going to be Victor Guzman alongside him in central midfield? Is he going to be Michael Perez? I'm not so sure on either of them. I mean, I like Perez and Guzman as players, but if you were to pick, the top 10 players in Mexico's squad, they wouldn't be in it. Exactly. So I'm slightly worried about that kind of defensive midfield, that holding role position, especially against the bigger nations. But it's an opportunity, if Perez gets the start, I feel like he's more of a natural defensive midfielder than Guzman, who I think for Pachuca, he plays alongside Burrito Hernandez. So he's got always a bit of support there, So yeah, let's see how it goes. But it doesn't get any much more difficult than Germany.
Well, it's good that we have Germany in the first game. You're off to see where you need to be. It's always good to win. I feel like it's either first or the third game. Having the strongest opponent in the second game really kind of gets it. It's hard because you have to rally the third game, but we'll see right off the bat. The good thing for Mexico, if you haven't looked at the schedule, I think they play Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday. And they're all of the games. Yeah, it looks like Sunday for the men and then Wednesday. Yeah, and all the games are on the same day. So you're looking at it. They play Fiji, which is would hopefully not a very, very tough team. And then they play Los Coreanos on the very last game. So it looks like, at least for Mexico, the hardest game obviously is against Germany, and then Fiji, and then South Korea. It's safe to say I think Mexico will be able to go into the next round unless some.
I think the Korea game may be more difficult than people think. Why? Because if you look at youth level, Korea usually do pretty well, and in the last Olympics they did pretty well. I think Mexico lost to them before the tournament, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they won against Korea. I think they played and then they won against Korea. I'm definitely going to look at that, but I feel like somebody scored.
Yeah.
Oribe Peralta, or no, Gio, I think, scored against Korea. I definitely got to look at that. Somebody can look at that. But yeah. Korea actually
wasn't easy.
I think, didn't you say something about a betting site that Mexico is, I think 8th or 10th, but Korea is up there too.
Yeah, I mean, Mexico on a betting site were 8th favorite, which for me is 8 out of 16. Mexico's 8 out of 16 for the reigning champion that is also going with a good squad. I mean, I'm not saying Mexico should be favourite, but if you've got a few dollars or pesos spare, then put some money on if you can get the odds. It's like 22 to 1.
Because if you're looking at the teams that were, I don't see any of these teams. Normally, African teams are really, really strong. You have Algeria, you have Nigeria are the only two African teams that I see that are on there that we've seen that before. Obviously, Germany, Argentina are also there. Colombia. If you're looking at soccer countries, but a Sweden team that could surprise. But that's what's so hard with these type of tournaments, because we've seen Germany not existent in youth tournaments, or we've seen a Colombia not as great. Except for maybe I think sub-20s when they've surprised before. So, but I definitely take into account that Korea is harder in their youth system and how they've played before in these tournaments, because they also want to win. But Fiji, and hopefully we're able to get some points against Germany, a win, a tie, obviously a win against Fiji, and then hopefully a win against Korea going into the next. And this is where it kind of gets interesting. I tweeted a little while ago, where there are no, quarterfinals. It goes right into the semifinals. There's quarterfinals. There's no another round, sweet of 16 or anything like that. It goes right into the quarterfinals, where Group A against the runner-up. There are no third places. So we're in Group C, and it looks like if we win Group C, we'll go against the runner-up of Group D, which is Argentina, Portugal, Algeria, Honduras. If we're seeing soccer countries, normally making it, I don't know how strong Portugal, but we would have to maybe face a Portugal.
No, Portugal.
Or an Argentina. Well, Honduras is also.
But Portugal have got the best players are out because they featured in the Euros. So, I mean, if Mexico get through the group, we saw before the tournament Mexico play Argentina. It was a horrible game. It was a really ugly game. Yeah. But Mexico shouldn't be scared of that, even against Argentina. I mean, I think Mexico can match Argentina on the day. You never know what's going to happen. I think it's it's pretty even if Mexico were to play Argentina. I think if Mexico were to play Portugal or any other of the teams in that group, then you put Mexico favourites. So once you get past that level, then you all of a sudden semi-finals. And
that's where it's interesting, because Group A and Group C are always grouped together. So if Brazil wins their group, they'll go to the semifinals. If Mexico wins their group, they'll go into that groups, and it'll be a match. We'll see Brazil-Mexico if they win their groups and they win their games in the semifinals. If Mexico happens to go into not win the group, let's say Germany wins group, they go into the other bracket where the Argentinas are there. Argentina's there. I think Colombia would also be there in that group. So facing Argentina right there in the quarterfinals, but then we would be the Group B, Group A, a possible matchup there, and we won't be able to see Brazil until the finals. So I think you're going to have to beat Brazil if you're going to win ultimately. So why not bring in? But not winning the group could favor Mexico if they get on the other side of the bracket.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, there's going to be. I don't think there's many, weak teams in this tournament either. If you know what I mean. Even a team like Honduras, I don't think. I mean, they're in the group with Argentina and Portugal, and I think even Honduras are going to be able to. I think they'll hold their own. I don't think they'll go through the group, but you think they'll represent CONCACAF with dignity at least.
There you go, CONCACAF Mexico final. Honduras Mexico final. All right, I know we're already going into a little bit of over 30 minutes, but we have some other questions. What's going on with the jerseys? I was reading that Mexico obviously can't go in there with their Adidas jerseys, having some problem because of Joma, however you like to pronounce it, in Brazil, is the official sponsor for the Olympics there in Rio, and they're going to be wearing a crazy I think it's our crest. It's the green jersey, but they're the Adidas
it's not
logo.
Green. I don't think.
No, not green.
Not green.
White and black. I'm sorry. White and black.
White or black.
Yeah, and it's got like the Olympic, the Adidas jersey. I mean, the three, these things right here, won't be present in our jersey. So it's just going to be like the crest on a white and black jersey, and that's it. We don't, you're not going to have enough. It's going to look weird. So we're not going to be able to wear the green because of that. But interesting enough, that was some controversy. But what's some questions that you see on there, Tom? I know you're looking at this.
Let's have a look at the questions over here. What's a good result for Mexico? Any medal could be considered a success. What do you reckon, Wiso?
Yeah, definitely. I say medaling. That I don't. To put in a failure at this level, it's kind of hard, especially but I think I'm expecting to at least be in the, get a medal. There is a third and fourth place, and at least the third place gives you a bronze medal. Mexico doesn't get many medals in the Olympics, especially in team sports. We get individual medals, but not in team sports. So I think any medal would be great. But I'm looking to see, I think, of the quality. Hopefully we're able to get that gold. But again, it's hard to go to see this, this team, because I wasn't expecting anything 4 years ago. Now the pressure is there. I mean, there is some pressure that everyone wants that gold again and what they can do. And Tom, I'll talk about it. Let's say they exit they say they play Brazil in the semifinals and they exit 2-0 loss and there is no medal. Given what the current state of the national team, with Mexico's going through with the 7-0, the 7-0, would there be some problems there in the FMF?
No. I think the problem. I think there'll only be problems if Mexico go out in the group stage. I mean, okay. I think then it'll be like the sky's falling in, because he is coming off the back of the 7-0, and yeah, and like I think Samuel Jimenez is saying here, we can't underestimate South Korea. They're very good at youth level, third at the last Olympics. Eddie V saying that as well. South Korea is going to be a challenge. So, I think the mentality of the national team, and I spoke to the director of youth national teams, Dennis DeClossi, yesterday, and I was speaking to him, and he was saying, look, this group's difficult. He's saying, we're really confident that we've got a good team here, but this is football, anything can happen. But I think what the kind of mentality is that if they can get through that group, then anything's possible. Anything's possible, and there's no reason why Mexico can't make a charge for another gold.
No, definitely. All right, guys. Well, hopefully we'll be we'll recapping these games. They're important games, especially at the Olympic level. Like I said, I feel like this is aside from the Confederaciones, this is one of the biggest tournaments we've won. Hopefully we repeat that, and we're seeing these guys that catapult them into European leagues. I feel like, you look at the guys that were there, Reyes, Zorrillo, it did help them get into those European teams. And, some people are saying, well, not every, Mexico's bringing, their players, and some of these countries don't have their best players. Mexico doesn't have the best players that could be going to the Olympics. You know, you don't see a Tecatito, who I think would be amazing, would be running circles through a lot. You know, that could be there. I feel, you know, you don't see other players that we hopefully could have been there, but interesting enough. Let's see what happens. The game is on Thursday. I think it'll be televised everywhere. Given the recent success of how Mexico does, and especially on live TV. So we'll be exciting to see. What do you think there? Do they pull off the first game, Tom, against Los Alemanes?
It's going to be really difficult. I'm going to go for a draw. I think it's going to be a really hard-fought draw, and I think that's a good result as well.
There you go. Yeah, starting with one at least.
The reason I say that as well, the positive for Mexico about this Germany game is the Germans have had very, very little time to prepare. So if there's a time to play this German team, it's in that first game.
Yep, I agree. Mexico has, they've been together. They've played some games. I'm actually wondering to see are there any countries that are playing, like, I know obviously Argentina played us, but how are they preparing for it? Mexico's been going through the sub-23 and going into different tournaments, and we'll see what's there. But Tom, thank you for jumping on with us on Tuesday. Thank you to everybody on the chats asking all the questions. People, Chucky for the golden boots. Anything can happen. Uruguay failed to get out of the group in 2012 with Suarez and Cavani. Mexico 3, Germany 2. Still questions going on. So thanks a lot to everyone that was able to jump on this Tuesday night. I know you guys enjoyed a wonderful Mexican soccer show last night. Thank you to Tom and Naive, Cesar, who are on. But you can obviously listen to this podcast every Monday night here on the Mexican Soccer Show, brought to you with FoodMix Nation. Also on iTunes. We usually bring the link over a couple days so you're able to listen to us. But again, try to hopefully follow all of us on Facebook. You can follow Tom on Twitter, and he does a lot of Facebook Lives. Tom, I think you do a Facebook Live every day, right?
Not every day, no. I'm going to try and do a few during the Olympics.
Yeah, no, listen to your Facebook Lives. You can a lot of stuff on ESPN FC, and I'm sure ESPN FC is going to be having a lot of coverage with the Olympics. Tom, thank you very much for jumping on. Thank you to you guys, and we'll catch you on the next episode. I'm sure we'll try to jump on after. We'll give you some some shows, because by Monday we'll already be playing 2 games, and we'll already see that. So hopefully we're able to jump on once again with some of the guys, Cesar, Jason, Jony, and Naive. Maybe have inviting some guests to talk about El Tri at the Olympics. Big deal. Let's hope for a win. Let's hope for another medal. Let's hope for Mexico coming back and returning. I don't know what that would be called. Bicampeones de las Olimpiadas. Tribicampeones. I don't know if that's... We'll see that. I know Argentina did it too, back to back. All right, Tom. We'll see you later, sir.
See you later.
See you all.